How to Live with God by Swami Chetanananda. Audio 4. Om Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurureva Maheshwara Gurur Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurve Namaha. Akhanda Mandalakaram Vyaptam Yena Characharam Tadpadam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namaha. Matravatra Lale Cha Pitravatra Margadarshika Namostu Guru Sattaye Shraddha Prakyayutachaya Shraddha Prakyayutachaya. Mahendranath Datta, Swami Vivekananda's brother, gave the following description of the Master in his book Sri Ramakrishna Anudhyam. I first saw Ramakrishna Paramhans of Dakshineshwar in Calcutta. I did not see any special characteristics in his form. He looked like a villager. His complexion was not dark, but it was no lighter than that of average Calcutta people. He had a trimmed beard. His eyes were normal, and except that his eyelids blinked rapidly. His lips were not thin, rather, his lower lip was a little thick. A few of his upper teeth were visible between his lips. He wore a shirt with the sleeves rolled up to his elbows. After a while, he removed his shirt and kept it by his side. He placed part of his cloth over his left shoulder. The room was quite hot and a man was fanning him with a long palm leaf fan. His language was not like that of educated people in Calcutta, rather it was rural. He stammered a little when he talked. His pronunciations were like the people of the western part of West Bengal. He said L in place of N. For example, I said to Larin instead of Narin. At times, he took a few spices from the spice bag that was in front of him. Swami Nirlepananda collected various descriptions of the Master from different people who met him. From Swami Sardhananda, the Master's head was well-shaped and his back like a straight wall. In other words, without any curves or twists. His face and chest were smooth, fully developed. One can ascertain the nature of a person by examining the formation of the head and body. When I saw the Master, his complexion was fair, a little lighter than that of Swami Brahmananda. He had some hair on his chest, but not much. His arms were a little longer than the average person, but they did not reach his knees. Otherwise, he would have looked abnormal. From Tamudatta, Vivekananda's cousin, the Master's ears were below the eye lines. He can see it by studying the pictures of him. His eyes were broad and beautiful, his soles were convex. यहाँ पर ठाकुर रामकृष्ण परमहंस के फिजिकल बॉडी, उनके अपीयरेंस के बारे में हमने पढ़ा कि उनका कॉम्प्लेक्शन बहुत एवरेज कैलकाटा के लोगों के जैसा था. प्रोनाउंसिएशंस में वो ल की जगह ना का यूज़ करते थे और उनकी बैक इतना स्ट्रेट थी जैसे कि कोई दीवार खड़ी हो, कोई वॉल हो. ठाकुर के 2 दांत उनके होठों के बीच में से दिखाई देते हैं. हम लोगों ने कई बार उनकी वो मनमुग्ध करने वाली फ़ोटो भी देखी है, जहाँ पर उनकी उस प्यारी सी मुस्कान में उनके वो छोटे से 2 दांत बीच में दिखाई पड़ते हैं. We have already mentioned that Swami Sardhananda asked Swami Brahmananda to examine and approve a clay model for the Master's marble image. Maharaj went to the studio, studied the model for some time and then asked the sculptor. यहाँ पर महाराज स्वामी ब्रह्मानंद जी को कहा गया है क्योंकि स्वामी ब्रह्मानंद जी को उनके निकनेम महाराज से बुलाया जाता था और स्वामी ब्रह्मानंद जी ठाकुर रामकृष्ण परमहंस के स्पिरिचुअल सन भी थे. Why did you make this image with a back bent? He never bent his backbone when he sat. जब स्वामी ब्रह्मानंद जी ठाकुर की जो मूर्ति स्कल्पचर बनना था उसको देखने के लिए गए और जो मूर्तिकार वो बना रहे थे उन्होंने ठाकुर की कमर को बेंट कर दिया, थोड़ा झुका दिया। तो स्वामी ब्रह्मानंद जी ने उनसे यही कहा कि तुमने इसको झुकाया क्यों? ठाकुर की तो कमर कभी झुकी ही नहीं। He never bent his backbone when he sat. The sculptor said, according to the anatomical measurement, if a man sits like that, he is supposed to be a little bent. Swami Brahmanand replied, the master's arms were quite long, which is very uncommon among people. About the master's ears, the Swami said, the tops of the ordinary people's ear are at about the level of their eyebrow, but the tops of the master's ear were below the level of the eyes. यहाँ पर उस स्कल्पचर जो बना रहे थे उन्होंने कहा कि एक नॉर्मल जो हम मेजरमेंट बनाते हैं एक बॉडी का स्कल्पचर के रूप में, तो उसमें वो हल्का सा बेंट होता है। तो स्वामी ब्रह्मानंद जी ने कहा कि ठाकुर ने कभी बेंट नहीं करा और उनकी जो आर्म्स थे वो भी बहुत लंबे थे। जो लोगों के नॉर्मल कान होते हैं वो आईब्रो तक आते हैं, बट ठाकुर के वो आँखों तक जाते थे। So later, when the sculptor had corrected the model accordingly, the Swami returned to the studio and gave his approval. Vaikuntanath Sanyal described the master's physical beauty in a poetic way. When I first saw the master, his figure was neither short nor tall. His stature was medium, but his arms were a little longer than average. His hands were clasped as if he were absorbed in worshipping an invisible deity. His chest was wide and crimson. His complexion was fair like a mixture of turmeric and red paint, but with a shade of tan. His lips were reddish like vermilion, sindoor ke jaise laal hote. His eyes were large and remained closed as he listened to the glory of God's name. To come down from Samadhi, he would repeat Govinda, 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 and rub his eyes. His hair, beard were of medium length, but dishevelled. He wore a thin red board cloth and draped part of it over his shoulder. There were some round marks on his abdomen, which had been caused by a village doctor who branded him to cure his enlarged spleen. His figure had been strong and stout, but later became loose-limbed and tender. As moonlight makes the inside of a room a bit luminous, so the master's room was illumined by his physical beauty. His face was gracious and loving. He humbly sat on the same carpet with the devotees and charmed them by talking about God. His words were sweet and inspiring, although there were no flowers or essence in the room. I sensed a sweet fragrance coming from his body, like that of a lotus. ठाकुर के कमरे में जैसे चंद्रमा की चांदनी होती है, उसी प्रकार ठाकुर की जो फिजिकल अपीयरेंस थी वो भी उसी तरह उस चंद्रमा की चांदनी की तरह प्रकाशित रहती थी। और वो उसी कारपेट पे नीचे अपने डिवोटीज़ के साथ बैठ गए और भगवान के गुणगान माँ की भजन कीर्तन करते थे। और उनका वो कमरा बिना किसी फूल, बिना किसी इत्र, बिना किसी परफ्यूम, बिना किसी सेंट के, सिर्फ वो ठाकुर की बॉडी के, ठाकुर के प्रेजेंस से ही वो महकता रहता था, जैसे कि कमल के फूल वहाँ पर बिखरे हों। ईशान मुखोपाध्याय, a great devotee of the mother, remarked, I get the same kind of divine fragrance here that I get in the mother's temple at Kali Ghat. As soon as I saw the master, I felt that he was my own eternally. I was so charmed and attracted that my head automatically bent down to the master's feet. He also accepted me as his own and joyfully said, You have come. Please sit down. ईशान मुखोपाध्याय जी जो थे वो माँ के बहुत बड़े भक्त थे, माँ शारदा मणि के, और वो बोलते थे कि मुझे यहाँ ठाकुर के पास और माँ के पास, दोनों के पास वैसी ही एक डिवाइन फ्रेगरेंस, एक खुशबू आती है। और While meditating on Satchidananda, the master's body would become so tender that his finger would be cut just by breaking a crisp of लूची. ठाकुर इतने नाजुक से थे कि जो लूची होती है वो एक तरह के मैदे की पूड़ी होती है और उसको तोड़ते टाइम ठाकुर की उंगली कट जाती थी. In fact, the master's body was as soft as butter. Out of mercy, the master allowed me to massage his feet, but I was scared that I might injure him by rubbing them with my strong hands. ठाकुर इतने नाजुक थे कि अगर कभी किसी को वो ये मौका दे देते थे कि वो कोई उनके पैर दबा दे या मसाज कर दे, तो वो डरते डरते करते थे, क्योंकि उनको ऐसा लगता था कि वो अपनी इतनी ताकत न लगा दें जो ठाकुर को चोट लग जाए. When the master was intoxicated with the joy of Kirtan, we felt that his divine body was as bright as molten gold and as soft as cream. It was as if he were distributing among his devotees the nectar that he had brought from heaven. जब ठाकुर उस भजन कीर्तन की संध्या में एकदम मग्न होते थे, खोए होते थे, उस समय वो एकदम सोने जैसे पिघलता है उस तरह वो चमकते थे और क्रीम के जैसे एकदम सॉफ्ट होते थे. और वो उस सुगंध का, उस प्यार का, उस भक्ति का वो रस जो वो खुद स्वर्ग से, हेवन से लेकर आते थे, वो अपने सारे भक्तों में, डिवोटीज में बांट देते थे. We were dumbfounded when we saw him dancing in a semi-ecstatic state, slowly and rhythmically. While he was pacing back and forth, his left hand would be held slightly up and his right hand extended below, his left foot forward and the right one backward. It was really unbelievable that such a body as tender as a flower could dance so madly and sweetly. Well, we then felt that his overflowing divine beauty had melted and was spreading over the devotees. Language is inadequate to describe the beauty of Sri Ramakrishna. One can only realize it through meditation. ठाकुर जब उस भक्ति में लीन होते थे, जब उस ecstatic मूड में आते थे, जब उस divinity में आते थे, and जब when he used to dance, तो उनका एक हाथ ऊपर, एक हाथ नीचे, सबको ऐसा महसूस होता था कि वो जो इतना नाजुक है, जो एक लूची तोड़े तो भी उसको कट लग जाता है, और वो इतने टेंडर से एक फ्लावर, एक नाजुक से फूल की तरह है, वो एकदम ऐसे इतने प्यार से डांस कर रहा है. We then felt that his overflowing divine beauty had melted, और वो उन्हीं सारे भक्तों में बिखर रही है, फैल रही है कि ये शब्द कम है उस भाव को, उस दृश्य को समझने के लिए, वर्णन करने के लिए, व्याख्या करने के लिए. उसको सिर्फ उस मेडिटेशन के गहराई में उतरकर ठाकुर की कृपा के साथ समझा, देखा और महसूस करा जा सकता है. जहाँ आंखें बंद करें तो ठाकुर साक्षात सामने हैं और माँ की भक्ति में लीन होकर एक हाथ ऊपर, एक नीचे, एक पैर आगे, एक पीछे, धीमे धीमे सोने जैसे प्रकाशित शरीर के साथ डांस कर रहे हैं और वो डिविनिटी, वो सच्चिदानंद का स्वरूप हम सब तक पहुंचा रहे हैं. What do you think of me? The omniscient Ramakrishna knew others' thoughts and moods. Like an ordinary person, however, he would ask newcomers during their first visit or after getting acquainted with them a little, "Well, what do you want? What do you think of me?" Of course, he did not ask this of everyone. He used this question to evaluate the understanding of devotees whom he had already seen in a yogic vision. Different people answered differently. Someone said, "You are a real sadhu." Others said, "A true devotee of God, a Mahapurusha, a great soul, a Siddha Purush, a perfect soul." an incarnation of God, Sri Chaitanya himself, Lord Shiva himself, you are God, and so on. Some who belonged to the Brahma Samaj and did not believe in divine incarnations said, you are a lover of God, of the same rank as Krishna, Buddha, Jesus and Chaitanya. One day the master said to M, let me ask you something. What do you think of me? How many annas of knowledge of God I have? M replied, I don't understand what do you mean by annas. But of this I'm sure I have never before seen such knowledge, ecstatic love, faith in God, renunciation and Catholicity anywhere. Another day M said, God has created you with his own hands, whereas he has made others by machine. All others has been created according to the law. The master said with a laugh, listen to what he was saying. And finally he said, really and truly, I have no pride. No, not even a slightest of bit. Ramakrishna's I, his ego, had died forever. The fire of knowledge burnt his ego, and it remained like a burnt rope, which has a form but cannot bind anything. This is called a ripe ego. ठाकुर के अंदर कोई ईगो किसी भी प्रकार का मैं आई नहीं था. वो एक राइप ईगो, वो पका हुआ एक फल हो चुका था. Human beings cannot function without an ego. However, the master enacted his divine play using the ripe ego. One day, he was having some fun with Hazra. The master later described their conversation. I asked Hazra, tell me what you think of people and that come here. How much sattva does each one possess? He said, Narendra has 100% and I have 110%. What about me? I asked. And he said, you still have a trace of pink, Rajas. You have only 75%, I should say. ठाकुर जब एम से बात करते थे तो एक बार इस कॉन्वर्सेशन में ठाकुर ने एम से पूछा कि व्हाट डू यू थिंक कि मुझ में भगवान का कितना अंश है, कितना आना है, कितना है. तो एम ने पूछा कि आना से क्या मतलब, जैसे रुपया आना होता है, आना से क्या मतलब. तो एम ने कितना सुंदर आंसर दिया कि बाकी सबको तो भगवान ने मशीन से बनाया है पर आपको अपने हाथों से बनाया है. प्रणाम सभी को.